Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing. I'd like to observe a moment of silence in honor of the Doty family. Please. And thank you very much. Council meeting was called to order with the following as roll call.
Mayor Rightower.
Here.
Earl. Here. Ewing.
Here.
Harden.
Here.
Knox.
Here.
Miller.
Here.
Zimmerman.
Here.
Minutes of the previous meeting were read and approved.
There's Rhonda was the one who asked that a letter be sent to Dave Webb, not me.
Okay.
That's the only thing, no biggie.
Fiscal officer report.
$1,499,300.97 in all funds, $221,101.22 in the general fund.
Bills were read. Resolution 16-3-1 was adopted on a motion by.
So moved.
Second.
Miller.
Yes.
Earl.
Yes.
Ewing.
Yes.
Harden.
Yes.
Knox.
Yes.
Zimmerman.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to go with guests. We have Girl Scouts here this evening.
We're going for our bronze award. The troop is 200-0059. The bronze award is the highest award for the junior Girl Scout. For our bronze award, we would like to paint the benches at the park softball fields. We will be painting field 1 and field 2. We would like to paint the seats blue and put paw prints at the end of the seats. The frame would be yellow and white paint at the top, right home if it's the home side, or visitors if it's the visitor side. After that, we would write Waynesfield Goshen, alternating with tigers on the remaining seats. This is the current state of the seats right now. This is what it'll look like after they're done. In conclusion, we would like to have your permission to paint the benches. The painting would be from April to August. We'd like to know if you would be able to contribute to the cost of our paint, for the paint. Estimated amount would be $192.94. Our offer for the amount of paint we would like is $150. We are using blue Olympic 1C satin paint for the bleacher seats and yellow Olympic 1 satin paint for the framework. And thank you for
Okay, thank you very much.
if you guys would like to make any corrections you would like that you would like to change, just write it.
Okay.
Nice.
Let you people think about that. We have another group going to the next presentation.
Fred, did you see this?
They met with me earlier today
Okay,
and to go over it, to present to you.
looks nice.
I'm presenting for Troop 20072. And as juniors, we previously earned our Bronze Award, which is the highest award you can for juniors. The way we earned that was we planted flowers at the school. And now we're going for our Silver Award, which helps us to show that we are organized leaders, and it helps us to make a lasting impression on our community. This, we want to paint the concession stand and the bathroom. This is the concession stand in its current state. This is what we want it to look like after we're done. The walls of the concession stand will all be painted blue with the designs over top. This is the bathroom in its current state. And this is what we want it to look like afterwards. We would paint all the walls on the outside yellow. And then on the inside, on the inside of the bathrooms, we want to put like little quotes on the walls. These are some of the quotes we want to put on the walls on the inside of the restrooms. the reason why we need your help is our estimated paint cost is about $258. We would like to ask if you would help donate $250 to contribute. And we asked Lowe's already if they would help donate some paint for this. They said they would have to think about it and we could give them a letter to ask if they could. The colors would consist of blue, gold, white, and also black. We would be using Valspar Storm Coat Satin. And for the bathroom and concession stand, we'd use a 5-gallon paint bucket. The bathroom would be gold and the concession stand would be blue. For the words and the designs, we'd be using black and white, also yellow. Our timeline for this is April to August. We would like to start painting the bathroom first, but we could always start with the concession stand. And thank you for allowing to listen to my presentation. And I have the quotes and the after designs of both of them.
While you're reviewing that, I'll just speak to the fact that it did come in and ask about a week ago for the opportunity to present to you. They presented to me earlier today in the office staff, and so that we could have an idea, so I'm not in the dark to it. And I highly compliment civic groups, Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, for taking the initiative to be involved, and I compliment them on that. I think they did a fine job.
Everything would be, troop leaders would be there to supervise anything and everything that's going on.
We would like you to, once you guys decide how you want to handle it and what any changes you want to make, then we will submit the letter to Lowe's, because we didn't submit it yet. And he told us what he needs, but we need to know for sure on the colors, if they're okay, because we can't submit a letter and then change the colors later on. So if you guys decide to change any of the colors or any of the design, we need to know that before we submit it to Lowe's.
They're kind of light colored now, aren't they? Are the buildings?
They're just a neutral. I think the white, I think the concession stand's white, I think the bathroom's more the whitish
Light
cream
cream or
color.
something, right?
Yeah. And now their bleachers are currently the color that they propose. They have a yellow base for the framework, and blue bleachers are faded, and we've replaced some of the wood so they haven't been painted. So that's kind of the scheme you already have. I also want to compliment them a little bit more if I can. You may not know this, but when we met today, they really weren't sure type of paint and so forth because they were waiting to get approval. And I can say from 2 o'clock this afternoon till this evening, they came back with quantities, colors, and types of paint, and even contacting the supplier. So I compliment them on their due diligence in such a short window of time.
Well, I only have one concern, and I'll be devil's advocate because I really don't care. But in my history working up at the school, people come in and paint stuff real dark colors, and then if that paint didn't stick, which a lot of times you can see on the previous pictures that it didn't, then they decide they're going to paint a different color. And man, some of those colors are really hard to cover up. That's just, so, you know, I would sooner see them stick with the lighter colors and put the paw prints and the lettering in the blues and the golds and stuff. But to paint a whole building blue would.
And that's why I presented to you, and that's why I think they give you an alternative, because I posed that question to them today, that if the color was an issue, maybe you could confirm something with them collectively. So I think the ladies have indicated that the color is an absolute. So.
Did Mrs. Warner want to make a comment?
Huh?
Did
Oh,
you
we
want-
did check out the bathroom. You had asked us this afternoon about the bathroom, the top of the bathroom, because we didn't have anything being painted there. It's siding at the top.
It is siding,
Yeah, just the bottom half is brick.
okay, and that's the only part they're
So we
painting, is
won't go
just
to
the brick.
paint the siding.
Yeah, they'll just be
It's-
painting
It's
the
never been painted.
Right, correct,
You know, just paint the brick that was previously painted.
yes.
And the inside of the bathroom, the girls weren't painting, they were just putting the different coats on the inside. They
And
were only gonna paint the outside.
they didn't clarify it, but I will for them. They didn't say they were gonna put all that wording in there. They said some part, you know, like if you say we like 2 of them out of the 4, we don't want that many. They're totally flexible and open to what you recommend.
Is the inside of the restrooms currently painted with epoxy? I would imagine
Yes.
it is, but, so then some stuff won't even stick to that.
Well, on the floor, I should say that. Now, the walls, I'm not so sure, but I know we painted the floors with an epoxy.
Yeah.
And that won't be painted anyway, but that's, but I think inside is mostly just, they're talking about lettering in certain designated areas.
Like I say, it don't matter to me if you paint it pink and purple. I mean, I don't really care. I just want everybody to see all the things that could happen, you know?
Well, it would be my recommendation that we allow them to do this project, but I would want it to be supervised by the troop leaders and so on, and the village administrator as far as color and that type of thing. I don't think we all need to try to come up with a solution there. You're going to have to maintain this once it's done, so it has to work for you as well. So that's what I'm saying. So the kind of paint, you need to make sure that that's going to work for you, and whatever it's going to take to maintain this project.
And I agree with that, and that's why when I made my recommendation today, I said, when we go to paint something, we lean on the expertise of the people we're buying the paint from. We tell them, because there's 3 different pieces of material they're painting here. They're painting wood, they're painting metal, and they're painting block. And so I said, you need to ask the paint professionals for that paint that will adhere to it. So they've done that. They talked about the brand. So I'm comfortable, because that's what I would do. I would go to Lowe's and I'd ask them the same questions. Colors, I'm fine with being the decision making if it's handed to me. But if, you know, Mr. Harden has expressed a concern, if there's any others, I mean, it's about a community project that we want everybody to be satisfied with it as much as possible. So I would like, you know, if possible, to accept their proposal or get some direction if there's a change. But if not, right now, I currently don't have a problem with their proposal.
Well, the whole complex down there, eventually, I would like to see a color that, you know, it's on our maintenance building, on our water plant, everything, so we don't have things that are, you know, out of character there. But as far as any graphics or anything like that, and as far as the blue and gold, school colors, that type of thing, or whatever, I'm fine with it. I'm like Mr. Harden, I'm concerned that we start getting things, you know, the bleachers, they're already dark blue. But some of the building structures, want to
Would
stay
it be
with
fair
them.
to say then that currently the concession stand is needing painting now?
Right, right.
And I'm not so sure the long-term goal, we've talked about, as you know, our wish list is ultimately to have a new concession stand built maybe behind home plate to better serve probably in a block capacity. So this may be a short-term site anyway, so the color may not be as detrimental. The block on the bathroom, so would it be fair to say, let's stay with neutral colors with the colors applying that they want for the decals and so forth, to go with what they want on that, but maybe stay with a neutral color like the white or whatever on the restroom. And on the concession stand, give them the latitude on that, because I don't think the concession stand, it will affect, if you have wood, it will absorb paint a little better, and we can cover it up, but maybe keep the bathrooms more of the neutral. Would that be
Right.
acceptable?
Yeah.
You can come in and put metal siding in for any of them, potentially, you know, so.
So,
But I think the girls are gonna do a good job myself,
yeah.
so.
We've
So-
already been in the process of repainting the outside of the water plant and
Yeah.
different things, so I'm kind of leaning, stay with that color scheme, but then do the applique, however, on top of that.
So what I would suggest to the troop leader is that, and I don't know what it is from memory honestly, but our water plant will look at that and we'll go along with that as a base color. Then you will have the latitude to put, the emblems and the decor stuff with the colors that you would like in the blue and the yellows. I think those would work with that also. It's just it wouldn't be bright yellow versus that neutral color. Then on the concession stand, they would have the latitude to do that how they want. And then the follow-up to that is they had asked for a monetary contribution from this council. So I think that's another part of the
Well,
request.
my recommendation on that would be that we would put the bill on all the paint supplies and so on, with the exception of if Lowe's or somebody else wanted to donate toward that. Because I want to ensure that we're using the right paint, the right everything, so this lasts as long as it can. And I would feel better, you know, we're gonna pay to make sure that we get what we have to have. So that would be my recommendation, because the cost, whether we have our maintenance crew go down and paint, the paint cost's gonna be virtually the same.
That being the case, if this body would approve that, then I would recommend maybe to the troop is that when they choose those colors, we would actually go get it for them and have it on hand, so if we would secure that for them, because we have accounts with those people. And so it wouldn't be in and out and so forth. So if you would go that direction or any part of that, we could look at picking up the paint for them, and then that way I could confirm with the vendor what it's applying to.
Well, at this point, it would be up to this body to decide whether they want to do the project, and then if so, if they want to cover the cost of the paint.
We looking for a resolution or what?
Yeah,
Since it's voluntary.
yeah, a resolution would do it. And like I say, with the village administrator kind of monitoring what we're gonna end up with in the end, because he's gonna have to maintain it.
And you're okay with the timeline, because they give you a timeline basically through the summer. But some of them play activities themselves, and they have different things. And then also when the ball season comes into effect, they're highly utilized. So there may be a window of time where you see activity and then you don't see activity. So we want to be clear on that.
I'll make a resolution 16-3-2 that we accept this proposal by the Girl Scout troops and that we cover the paint and whatever colors they decide and the village administrator.
I'll second it.
Miller,
Yes.
Ewing,
Yes.
Earl,
Yes.
Hardin,
Yes.
Knox,
Yes.
Zimmerman.
Yes.
Okay. I want to thank the Girl Scouts for wanting to do this project, and I'm sure it'll come out wonderful. And for a group to take interest in our community is a good thing. And I thank you very much.
You presented it very well.
Good job.
No paint fight, okay?
That didn't get called this year.
And if you do, let us know so we can come and play too.
All right.
Yeah. Thanks again, girls.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, let's move on to committee reports.
I have something for streets. Who's the other street person?
Pardon?
Who's the other person on the street committee? Is it?
I think, isn't it Bob?
I think I am, I'm not sure.
Well, anyway, I don't know if there's a possibility we might need to go into executive session to talk about it, but I had a lady come to my house and had a problem with the street, an unimproved street that supposedly may have been sold. So,
What was it? What's the statement? I didn't hear it, I'm sorry.
a lady come to my house with a problem she has. The unimproved street, Maple Street, that went clear back to her property, supposedly was sold. And
No, it
people-
was not sold.
No,
It's an unimproved street,
yeah.
like a lot of them.
The way we understand, we haven't been notified of any transaction that I know of.
No.
What we were approached about was, a party wanted to be able to access their property like they have always been able to use, through property the village owns. And they asked us, for permission to do that. And, the attorneys reviewed the request and everything, and, we granted the same access we always have to a parcel that is in the village corporation, but it's actually agriculture. And the only thing we did was allow them access in the form that, as long as we deem it necessary, but at any time it could stop or whatever. But the way they were doing, they were lotting off their own property. But as far as any village property, that would be beyond me, and I wouldn't know of anything. I haven't seen, we wouldn't have been able to.
Well, right now on the books, I'm trying to remember how far back, but there was an ordinance passed that the village would not vacate any streets or alleys from that point forward. So that's kind of where that plot lies. Another thing is, we're talking about an unimproved street, which we have several within the community, that the property owners adjacent to it usually maintain these properties or utilize it with lawn buildings and gardens and so on and so forth. That's kind of the situation that we have. I don't believe we are under any obligation to improve a street unless there is development. And normally what happens is the developer goes in and develops.
There's usually an agreement between, they come
Right.
in and say what their plan is, and there's an agreement. But I think the question or the statement on the table is that the village sold
No.
their property. Oh, I thought that's what you said.
No. The property owner that had 2 or 3 lots right there sold those lots that the alley or the street goes past. And the people that bought that say they bought the street too, and I think it's just a misunderstanding.
Yeah, absolutely, because
No.
we have not,
Make it look like you-
we have not sold any streets or alleys.
That's probably been 5 or 6 years ago that we talked about the unimproved alley situation.
I would say it was before that.
Well, it might have been.
Because John Childs was on council at the time and certain others I can remember, so that, it's been a while. But, no streets have been vacated or alleys.
Well, I think the thing is that the city letting them through back there by the salt barn doesn't really satisfy the people that want to buy that piece of ground. They want the street to go straight back. And like I said, they can do that, I'm sure, but if it didn't get sold. They run under the
Well-
assumption that the people bought them other lots.
Like I say, I don't know what the village's obligation is. Dick, maybe you can help me out here a little bit, but we have farm ground that they're wanting to farm, but they don't wanna go across their own property to get to it. They wanna go across village property that is unimproved. So,
I don't think that's real accurate either. I think they wanna sell a chunk off, and that chunk is
Well,
landlocked if they can't get back at the street.
typically, if you sell a piece of property, it's your obligation to have the access, where, especially on farm ground, most property has an egress off the highway.
You can't sell off a piece of property and not have it landlocked unless you've got an easement or a right of ingress and egress.
That's the
Right,
problem,
right.
they can't sell their property, and there is a vacant alley or a street there, an unimproved street.
Well, we have that situation in a couple of places. For example, Cook Street's an undeveloped lot that goes into Becky Park's property. And then on Main Street, same scenario, exactly same situation. And the theory between development is, if somebody wants to develop that, and they come in with a plan to develop something, and then they request that, they come to the village and ask for a request for utilities or so forth, it usually becomes a negotiated point at that part, or however the village enters into an agreement of what they're willing to do, the contract of what they're willing to do. For example, I think Daybreak Estates and both the Cotter development was prior to my time, but they developed those areas and then turned them over to the village. They put in all the utilities and the streets and so forth. So if somebody wanted to buy that for development, then they would come in with a proposal and look into extending utilities, street, and so forth. But we were under the impression that they wanted to sell it off just for farm ground, and the people just wanted access 2 or 3 times a year to get into it to farm it. And we said the same access that has always been there
Well,
is
what
available.
we made a determination, we talked to the attorney, Wayne Street has been utilized over the past, I don't know how many years for that purpose. Plus, with recycle, they've changed the way they're doing things. They used to just bring a straight truck in and pick up the recycle. Now they're bringing a semi. So we've had to do some changing around as far as electric, trimming trees, cable lines, because the first time a semi went down, tore down a lot of stuff. So we're prepared to try to maintain that street to allow access, rather than try to maintain 2 streets, to take semis down one, farm equipment down one. It's
And perfect point, the property owner has been requesting this for many years. It's not a new thing. When they have access off 67, but they wanted the village to create an access.
right.
And in theory, most farmers don't design their farming to go through residential areas.